Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Camppatton Family Compound. It is time for Friday night on the Homestead, and tonight's topic is our garden equipment maintenance. And how's everybody doing out there? The first thing I need to do, I need to get up here and say hi to everybody because I was chasing the grandkids out, getting them across the street so their dad could do a little outdoor barbecue thing with them. And so I missed saying hi to everybody. All right, so first one in was Troop 1351, then Geeky Gardens, followed by Kaylin Strain, then Shady Hill Homestead, Moon Over Miami, and then everyone starts saying hi to everybody else. All righty. So, trying to remember, I think it was back in, did I do it? No, I didn't do one in the fall. I did one last spring. We talked about normal garden tools and stuff. But Mark suggested we talk about, the powered garden equipment, which could be anything behind me here and a bunch more too. So we're going to try to cover this because don't own anything anytime that so one of the things that has changed over the last dozen years or so is the amount of stuff that has gone from so what I'm looking for here. Well, we went all right, we'll just pick on lawnmowers. Went from the old push reel mowers to actually before that they had the science sickle, or the bar thing on a handle, had a bow on it and a crinkle blade across there that you would chop the grass down. Of course, if you went too deep, you took a divot out of the lawn. To the crank gas powered mower, to the pole mower, to the electric start mower, to the riding mower. Yeah, things have been developing. Now we have battery powered mowers, battery powered weed eaters, battery powered even before the battery ones, there were other just corded cords all over the place, gas powered backpacks and stuff. So we're going to go into this a little bit here, and let me get to bring this up here. Yeah, I know the Stihl and the Black & Decker and some of the others have been gas powered ones have been around for 30 years more, 40 years almost. But and we all have seen the the landscapers, maintenance guys walking around blowing the leaves all around and stuff and trying to get them into a pile. Anyways, those take a lot of maintenance, which is usually why you'll see on like a landscaper truck or whatever, they'll have like 4 guys there, and they'll have 8 weed eaters and 3 or 4 blowers. They have more tools than what the guys can use, because if one dies, they need to keep working, so they need to have another one to pick up and go with. And then they have maintenance people that work on them all night long. And I see trouble coming. All right, I'm gonna have to step out of here and head it off at the pass here. All right, so I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And I'm back. My daughter walked in with Eli. I wasn't sure whether she thought she was going to be able to drop him off. She was going to sit with him in front of the TV and play videos for him, because the other boys are over across the street. All right. So, looking at this, I mean, a gasoline engine is it's you can have several things of maintenance that needs to be done on them, especially if it's a two-stroke engine. You need to be using the proper um, fuel oil mixture with the proper mix in it, because certain motors want one type of mix or one type of fuel additive to it, the oil additive. Some others want a different one. So you got to make sure you're using the right one for the right machine. And then, and we have, all, of course, nowadays we have everything's battery powered, just about. They even have battery powered lawnmowers and stuff like that. And some of these take a bit of maintenance on it. And let me go here, since I'm the only one here, and pull something up for you so I can show you what I mean. My my second to oldest grandson has been using the color on here, the Saker. Yeah, it's got a yellow. Let me turn it around this way. There we go. Now it doesn't. Yeah, it says Saker on it. No yellow button on the other side. Has been using this to go out there and trim the grass around the fruit trees and the shade trees and stuff. Battery, he's been using it, and as you can see, I need to get out there, and he just finished using it yesterday so I got to get out there with this and get it cleaned up so that it's turn the other side. So you can see both sides are just as bad, and get it taken cleaned up a little bit so it can keep on going. And as much as everybody was touting this a couple of years ago when I got this, I discovered a problem with it. The battery here, yeah, it's got a lot of green on it as well. But I found this out last year when I was using it, and I would leave the battery in it, hooked up in it, and I'd, come in from doing some stuff, set it down, and then I pick it up, a couple hours later, go out, cut a little bit more, set it down, leave it in the battery in it overnight, go to use it the next day, and it's dead. But I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. It had 3 green lights on it when I put it, so it's fully charged. Well, over the wintertime, I charged this up back in September or so, and I left the battery out of it. And this spring, put the battery in it, worked fine, used it for several days, kept taking the battery out of it every time I stopped using it. Works great. Some pieces of equipment have a problem where when the battery's in there, it puts a draw on it, a trickle draw on it all the time. So it kills the batteries. So, so to get replacement batteries for this is almost as much as what this unit costs to begin with. Go ahead and just set that down here. So that's one of the things, if you're going to be doing something, that's battery powered, you're going to have extra batteries, because you're charging one while you're using another, and you have a third one on standby, ready to go in while the other one's charging up. One of the things that I also noticed about it is we've had the corded electrical hedge trimmers, and I've shown those in a couple of videos using them and stuff to take down an area where the Russian bloom got tall before I could get to it, because it started growing in the middle of the rainstorms and stuff, and I couldn't get out there and cut it down. But we have had two or three different ones that we used, and only one of them said anything about oiling the bar. Well, I went and got something else here. Oh, hang on a second. I'm going to have to take the green screen off here, because this is, oh, we got to use green screen for everything. I mean, we got to use green on everything we do with the with the stuff with anything to do with gardening, it's got to be green. So let me go ahead and just drop that out for a second. There we go. This is something I picked up. Yeah, see why I had to take the green screen out, because you wouldn't be able to see it. Got a nice long bar on it. So the neat thing about it is, set that down here carefully and turn it. Right here, this tube here froze. So this little tube here going back up into it goes into this here. And this is an oil reservoir. And it's got like a little diaphragm pump in there. So you fill that reservoir up with an oil, and as it uses it, pumps oil out onto the bar and lubricates the bar for you. Well, the oil they were recommending was like a 10 weight oil that's biodegradable and all this other stuff. And having had several chainsaws, McCulloch chainsaws from 45 years ago or so, I was using a lot, so I had gotten a couple of gallons of the oil for the bars, and so I'm, put that heavier, thicker. It's almost like 90 weight or 120 weight oil, and I'm going to put it in here because it's made to handle the. It's made to handle the sawdust and all the debris and everything else like that, and keep the chain from getting gummed up. And it'll work great on a bar like this, where you've got wood chips and pieces of leaves and stuff, everything like that. So those are the two things I have there. So let me get this back up. So there we go. And so for maintaining, whether it's all electric, battery powered, gas powered, anything that has moving parts on it, like the hand shears, the chainsaws, the hedge trimmers, what has metal moving, you need to keep that lubricated. On some of the older head shears, head trimmers, what do you want to call them? I had a little old-fashioned machinist oil can. They're still selling them because I bought a 2-pack on Amazon because it was $1 more than a single one. So for $1 more, I got 2 cans. And I've been using that on the handheld shear and the hedge trimmers. Just give it a couple squirts while I'm doing it, and then clean it all up later on with a good bath of solvent and stuff to get all the gunk out of there, and then re-oil it again. But the thing is, though, is a lot of companies aren't putting in their instructions, you gotta oil it all the time, and that's a maintenance thing you got to do all the time. Just like with a tractor, like my Coyote tractor, I got to grease the bucket fitting, the bucket point, the point that everything pivots at, this into the cylinders where it pivots on the pins. Everything needs to be greased, and so the chainsaws, the old chainsaws, out on the tip of the chainsaw, there used to be in the McCullochs and some of the other ones back, 45 years ago, there was a little detent, sort of like a grease zert thing, but it wasn't a bump sticking out to put it on. We had a special little tool. We push it up against it, line it up on it, and give it one pump, and you see grease come out around the wheel inside of it. Modern ones don't even have that greasable point on them. And it's like, okay, yeah, so this is going to burn up in so much time, and they're making the chainsaw bars disposable, which is one of the reasons we constantly oiling it more than we normally would, just try to get oil in around that chain gear at the front. Um, so if you have anything that has a gasoline motor on it, you got to make sure you're using the right type of gas. You got to make sure that if it has motor oil in it, you got to make sure the oil is up. You change the oil out every 50 hours of use, because that's like driving a car for 3,000 miles. And so you need to change the stuff you need, the lubricants you need to change. You need to add stuff to the ones you need to add it to, and you got to do it often. Let's see, next one here. Back when I was a teenager, my grandmother had a Troy belt rotor tiller. This is some of the new versions. Hers had the belt drive on it, had the levers coming off the back, so you could engage one thing, disengage another, go to high speed. So you go high speed or low speed on the tines, or you go high speed, low speed on the wheels. So you had more control over it than the new ones do. But yeah, we had to take care of those the drive belts on there, make sure that the pulley stayed clean, and you weren't getting dirt thrown up in them and stuff. You get clean off the pulleys and everything else. And we wound up having to use belt dressing spray every now and then to get the belt, keep the belt in good condition. I don't know how many of you can see it here. Let me take it to a different view here. So on the side of the motor here is an orange cap. That's your oil level. And you got to get the engine at the right level to check the oil level. You got an air cleaner up on top there. And so you got several things you got to keep an eye on to make sure everything is working properly. Here's an example of a disaster waiting to happen. The cover is gone off of the drive belts on the side here. Let me see if I can pick a different view here. There we go. Get it a little bit bigger even. So there's nothing protecting the belts from any dirt, rocks, or anything else flicking up in between the belt and the pulleys. The carburetor there does not have an air filter on it at all. And I'm not sure where all this oil is coming from. Hang on, let me look at that. Yeah. And the spark plug up on the top has an exposed cap on it. You don't have the rubber suction thing over it to keep anyone from accidentally touching the end of the spark plug. Right next to the gas tank, somebody did not maintain this one hardly at all. Oh, and the cover is missing for the pull rope on it. And so the pull rope and the ratchet thing is all gone, and they got the pull rope wrapped up around here on the bars in the back, the crossbar in the back. You can see it hanging down there. And so they're having to wrap it around by hand, pull it, and then wrap that back up there afterwards. Yeah, this thing is in need of a ton of maintenance. Like I said, the amount of oil that's leaking off there and gas leaking, yeah. This one's in bad shape. Let me see, make sure. All right. I hadn't seen any comments for a while, so let's go to the next one here. Ryobi has a 40 volt, and then a bunch of others are copying it too. Rear tine rotor tiller, which is cool. You don't have the noise of the motor going, so you hear if the tines are hitting something. You can tell. Oh wait, I'm clipping a rock or a piece of metal in the ground, and you just stop it and look to see what you're hitting. Whereas the motor one's going, fighting the shaking of the motor and the rotor tiller tines at the same time. But yeah, I looked at one of these and it's like, it was $900 and basically $1,000. It's like, no, not for me. Not if I want to live, that is. But they do have these out there. And of course, if you're using it in a garden, you have a better chance of it taking less. You know, if the garden's always tilled up and kept nice every year, it doesn't get compacted super hard. It's going to be less stress on the tool and easier to use. And then there are different ones that are for front tine ones across a whole bunch of different makes. So on both of these, the 40 volt for the battery powered front tine, and this is a more of a little bit smaller unit here on the right. Thing is, I have one that's a 12.5 amp Ryobi. That's not green. It's kind of yellowish. And from back, oh geez, how long ago did we get that thing? 15, 20 years ago. And and instead of being 16 inches wide, it's only 9 inches wide. Well, 8.5 really, but yeah. There's a couple videos here back when I was from about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now. Across when I was working across the garden across the street, where I was putting in a bunch of beans and stuff. I'd gone through with the discs and stuff, and then I came through with the little Ryobi we have here that's ancient, and went through it, and just where I was going to be planting, tilled it with that, just where I was going to be planting. But it was fun because it's an electric corded one, just like this one here is. And, you know, so I have 150 feet of extension cord out there, and I had to make sure when I turned at the end of the aisle, I had to get that cord out of my way to make sure I didn't run over the cord. That would have been that would have been ugly. Let's see here. Plus all the accessories for it. So I'm going to go back here. There are accessories for a lot of garden tools. One of my most often used and does most of the work around here as far as a garden tool is my 24 horsepower Coyote tractor. And I got a boatload of attachments for it, and I got a wish list with a half dozen more attachments for it. But I got the 50-inch rotor tiller on the back of it. I got the drag box on the back of it. I have the 6-foot wide landscape rake on it. I have 6-foot wide angle blade on it that tilts multiple ways and stuff. Got the brush hog, the huge mower for it. I'm just trying to remember what all I have out there for it. Oh, I got some discs, a set of discs for pulling around to discs as well, so I can disc and then come through with the rotor tiller and break it, the big clumps up into smaller stuff. I've blown it the last couple weeks here when I was doing rotor tilling between the trees in the orchard. I didn't get the camera out there to do it because it was like, okay, all right, it stopped raining, everything's good, get out there, make a pass at it. Oh, starting to rain, or the wind comes up really hard, so it's blowing crap everywhere, and so I got to wait. So I never did get any good video of it. I have one last section really to do some stuff on if I get a chance out there, and I'm going to try to get the camera out there so you guys can see that. But on the rotor tiller, it has a glass viewpoint on it for keeping the gear oil up to proper height on it. And then it has, on the other end, it has a grease fitting for greasing the bearing on the other end. So yeah, it has that has maintenance stuff that needs to be done on it. The brush hog has gear oil in its box, and has 2 screws on the side, one to fill and one to check level on. And so, you know, I got to make sure I don't develop a leak in that, fortunately. knock on wood, I have not had any leak at all on that thing yet. As far as the landscape rake, the angle blade, those have zert fittings on it, so the stuff you move it by hand, so the stuff will be moved easily, and all that's got to be kept maintenance up on that. Oh, your mowers. I'm going to be jumping around here. Your mowers, maintenance on your mowers, it's not just dealing with if it's a gas-powered one with gas and oil on it. And same thing with electric, with maintaining batteries and making sure the battery contacts are clean and everything else. It's the blade itself. You got to make sure you keep the blade sharp, just like you did with the old push reel mowers. You got to make sure those are maintained and sharp as well. With my walk behind Cub Cadet string trimmer, it's like a mower with out in front, with it only has the two wheels in back, but since it's got the heavy duty string trimmer line on it, those have to be cut to the proper length, and you got to keep a pocket full of those, because you're out there going, and if you hit something, it can just snap that stuff right off. If you catch some chain cattle fence, it'll catch it. It'll break one side off partially, and the thing will start getting a out of balance shimmy on it. So you got to be able to keep maintenance up and change those out as you go along. Everything that you can use in the garden that's powered or around the property needs maintenance. Talked about the chainsaws, got to keep the oils on them. You got to sharpen the blades constantly on the chainsaws, or have spare blades so you can just quickly change out the chains and put the used one in a pile to sharpen during the wintertime when there's not much to do and the snow's deep on the ground. Then you go out there, you can get all the chains all sharpened up and ready to go for the next year. Maintenance can be done in all the shears and stuff. Sometimes these even with these things here, if you're going along trimming the grass around trees and stuff, and suddenly there's a wire that got thrown in by someone off the street, and it landed over there, and it gets bound up into the grooves here, it can tweak, dent, and chip the blades on these things, and then you got to take it apart and file it down, or grind it down a little bit, get them sharp again, and get them realigned. Same thing with the hedge trimmers here. You got to keep an eye on those, because if you catch something in there, and it can damage it, and then you got a big problem going on with it. You got to get it fixed. Your weed eaters, your string trimmers, both the type right here and some of the type over there. You got to make sure that sometimes when you're cutting grass, you'll get a long stalks of grass, and it'll wind up around it. You got to get that dug out so it doesn't burn up around the bearing inside and ruin the head of it. You also need to check on the lawnmowers after you get done using it. Some of them nowadays have a little attachment on top where you hook a garden hose up to it, and you turn the water on while it's running, and it just washes the blade off, washes all the collected grass off the inside, washes it all down. So it's better to go in an area not on your driveway where the grass and stuff landing isn't going to cause you a problem. But you need to keep that clean up inside, and once you wash it out, then you can turn it on its side and look to see if you have somehow gotten some long stalks of grass wrapped up around the bearing going up from the from the blade mount up into the motor. So you can check that out there too. And that also goes for ride-on mowers. You have a ride-on mower, whether it's got 1, 2, 3, or 4 blades going underneath you, you need to check those blades out, make sure they stay sharp and not dented and don't get bent, and make sure they're working all properly all the time, and you don't have stuff getting up into the belt drives of those, causing them to get out of sync. And sometimes some of the older models would come in contact with each other because they were on the same level, but they were spinning at different, so they missed each other. So you had to if they slip, they'd start clinking, and you'd have to stop and reset the positioning of the blades. Yeah. You get something on there, it can start causing stuff to wear. And you'd be surprised how many people have, for some strange reasons, have pieces of tie wire or baling wire or some sort of wire in their yard. And they always get wrapped up on the lawnmowers and string trimmers. All right. So you got to make sure you're using the proper oil, whether it's multi-grade, whether it's 1530, 1030, whatever type motor oil in your stuff. In the engine, besides Steve, you got 2 strokes. You already mentioned you got to have the proper 2-stroke oil that mixes with the gas. You get the. There's a channel that every now and then on Facebook, when I'm watching the reels, her thing comes up on there, and she does small engine repairs, and she found a surefire way of finding out that the owner is lying to you. And she says it usually happens with landscape companies. They say, "Oh yeah, we're using the two-stroke motor oil mix on the the blowers and the weed eaters and stuff like that, string trimmers and stuff." Some of the stills and some of the other ones have little cheap viewing glasses on it, so you can see the color of the oil or the fuel mix in the tank, and you can see what's coming from the primer going to the carburetor, what color it is. You have like a little glass thing. It's like a whole pre-stage holding area you got to prime up. She's getting one. Oh, everything looks like it's heavily oiled in the fuel. So the fuel mix is really kind of heavy oil on it. But you look over at the glass tube before it goes in the carburetor, and it's got no oil in it. As you can see, it's pure, unleaded gas. There's no oil in it at all. They ran it on regular gas till it seized up, and then they filled the tank with the gas mix in it. So, yeah, you got to make sure you don't do that you don't accidentally run the stuff that needs 2-stroke fuel mix in it and run regular gasoline in it. And you don't want to run that mix in something that takes regular unleaded, no ethanol gasoline in it. The both my push mower, my riding mower, my walk-behind string trimmer, my 1939 Ford 9N tractor, and the gasoline part of my tri-fuel engine generator all take ethanol-free gas. So I got to buy the stuff. I got to hunt around and find the stuff that's ethanol free. And when I find it, I fill up like 7 or 8 5-gallon cans. So I have plenty to get me through the summer. But yeah, you got to make sure you know if you're using some newer stuff, lawnmowers and stuff, they do not take ethanol gas, the E85. They can't use that stuff with the E87. They can't use it. It can't have any ethanol as it because it dissolves the plastic carburetor components. Which brings up another point: end of season maintenance. So on your lawnmowers, your string trimmer, anything that's gas powered, run it dry. And it came from the repair shops. He goes, you know, people let the gasoline sit with a half a tank all winter long, and they wonder why they have problems in the springtime. You want to run that sucker dry. He's saying that these new carburetors are made to be run dry at the end of the season. They're not like the old aluminums where you had gaskets in there and stuff, and you had to keep some fuel in there to keep the gaskets from drying out. The new ones have some, you know, because everything's glued together, the gaskets and stuff that are in there, you don't have to worry about that. They're made to dry out. Let me see here. Oh, one of the things you got to be careful of if you're using the like the hedge trimmers and some of the weed eaters that have cords on them that are plugged in, you got to keep an eye on those. You want to try to use the bright orange cord. You don't want to use, oh, this is green, it's perfect for landscape. No, it's green to hide for Christmas tree lights. You don't want to use that one because sure as shooting, it's gonna be up in the way and you're not gonna see it blending with all the other green. And all of a sudden, oh wow, I arc welded my hedge trimmer blades. So yeah, you want to that's side exactly maintenance. It's preventive maintenance as far as using the right extension cord that can be well seen, which is why so many people are going to battery powered ones like these here. These are all battery powered because there's no cord to drag around. And also, if you're using stuff that takes a cord, you got to take care of that cord when rolling it up, putting it away, make sure it's stored right, making sure the end's not getting mashed. You got to take care of it as well. Let's see. Oh, tires on stuff that have inflatable tires like ride-on mowers, zero-turn mowers, wheelbarrows. We have a problem around here with the Indian Canal, which is to the west of us, of both properties, because the wind blows the seeds for goat heads right on over onto the city's 15-foot wide right-of-way between our fence line and the street. And so it's like, all of a sudden there's goat heads growing up there, and grandkids and animals and stuff will track the goat heads into the property, and we could be out there mowing, and all of a sudden there's some goat heads sticking in the tires of either the wheelbarrows or the ride-on mower. And next thing you know, it's like, why am I tilting sideways on the ride-on mower? Or why is all of a sudden I try to push the wheelbarrow, it's not going? Oh, it's got flat tire. And so one of the things we do here is when we get a new tire put on something, or we buy something brand new with new tires on it, first thing I do is I put a pint of green slime in every wheel. And if it's a big wheel like on the tractors and stuff, I put a whole quart or two in those big tires. I was using the ride-on mower, and all of a sudden I was out there saying, like, wait a minute, the cut's getting weird. All of a sudden it's high on one side, low on the other. I looked over, and I had a flat tire on the rear tire. So turned off the blade and just drove it around to the shop. gave it another little squirt of the green slime just in case, and then aired it up. And once it was aired up, I just drove it around on the driveway for about 15 minutes to make sure the entire surface was well coated and that it was plugged in the hole. And when I went back to park, yeah, there was a little green bubble where it had the slime was starting to force out, and it sealed up the hole in the tire. Now we're not talking big holes; we're talking about pin-size holes. All right. Any questions about any other type of equipment? But yeah, read your user manual. Of course, I found out a lot of the user manuals from the land across the Pacific don't have. They talk about maintenance, and it's keep the dust off of it. Don't talk about oiling the bars. Taking care of making sure certain things have grease inside of them. They don't want you taking it apart. They say, "Oh, we lube it for life. You can just go on and use it." And 2 years later, it burnt up because they didn't talk about adding grease to the head of the weed eater or wherever you needed to add stuff to it. So make sure you check on that, and then look on YouTube for enter in the model, the make and model of whatever it is, and talk and ask questions about what maintenance, like the Makita 20-inch hedge trimmer, battery powered. What maintenance is needed on it? And there will be videos talking about maintenance that the manual doesn't talk about. All right, everyone. I think I've covered everything. I know Mark wanted to say a few things, but I think he's in transit out to his cabin tonight, or he's already out. He's out there, and he and Uncle Richard are setting stuff up out there for the weekend. Some maintenance that's not really maintenance, but preventative maintenance action. Harbor Freight has this nice little 24-inch wide magnet bar thing that you can you lower them. It's a square aluminum tube, and the magnets inside. You lower it down, and you got like 3/4 of an inch between it, or half inch between it and the cement. You just start walking it around. If you're on a street out in front of your house, you go up and down there a little bit, pick up any nails and stuff and screws that have fallen off of things that you can run over into your car or any of the tires of your wheelbarrows and right on the mowers and stuff. Yeah, you got to make sure you keep your batteries charged up on all your things. I tried to get, like when I started getting the Ryobi 18-volt tools and stuff, I went ahead and got 4 chargers, and then I started buying a bunch of the batteries that are the high amp hour batteries for it, and so I keep them charged and I keep it stacked. These are the ones charged, the most recently charged on the left, the one ready to be used on the right, and that way I'm ready to go on anything. Make sure I keep all my batteries charged. The only one I have problems with, like I was talking about, was that Saker one, because the battery by itself costs more. Actually, it costs more than getting a whole new one. Yeah, they make a killing on their batteries, because if you leave the battery in it, it drains the battery. Just sitting there doing nothing, it'll drain the battery in a couple of days, and it also you go, I just charged this. Why is it dead? So yeah. So and also check and keep the contacts clean on your batteries and on your charger, so you don't wind up stuff not working. All right, here. Let me come over here. And So tomorrow on Gray Man Prepping for Survival Saturday, after a zombie infection spreads, what are your plans? I'm going to have fun with that. It's going to be comical, folks. Monday, back here on Camppatton Family Compound, for the Fireside chat is canning Q&A, and it's not just canning. We're going to any questions you have about food preservation at all, go where you want to go. Start writing your questions down now and save them for Monday, and we'll answer all your questions we can. Tuesday back here, not here, over on Gray Man Prepping on Tuesday, the topic is sheep pox, the rabid variant. Yeah, well, it's gonna be a lot of tongue in cheek, and bring all your jokes. But yeah, we're going to be talking about problems with certain people's outlooks and how it affects normal people, how it affects not normal people, and how it affects preppers and farmers and homesteaders and hunters and everything else like that. Thursday night's the Midnight Ride, and next Friday here, the topic is your garden ready for a drought? And we're talking about ways to water and recycle water and get the most out of your water for your garden. All right? And Kaylin says, next week I'll be working the Booth at the Bones Art Festival, so she'll be missing most of the lives. Okay, Kaylin. So, anyways, that's what's coming up here. And everyone, keep your equipment running in good condition so you spend more time harvesting than you do repairing your gardening equipment. All right? Take care, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow over on Gray Man Prepping for Survival Saturday.